play the sponsors now. Play sponsors.
Impressive though, looks really, really good.
All fellas like me, and I'm all about.
Back there last night, so
It's
really cool.
Great to try something new in technology, as you know, just hasn't been done before. And man,
Not too stressful for you guys?
no. So we're up to over 20,000 viewers yesterday,
Oh really, that's good.
and countries around the world. are
Yeah.
watching.
You alright? Good to see you. Well done on what you've done so far.
Cheers, thank you.
Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome back to our live streaming coverage here of the Winmax brake pads, Ashley Forest Rally Sprint, and what a glorious day it here is in North Canterbury, and we're so pleased to have with us in our commentary and production headquarters to have Hayden Paddon come and join us for a quick word, who's the man of the course at the moment. Hayden, nice to have you back home, and this is such an iconic event, isn't it?
Oh, it is. There's so much history here. I remember growing up watching it, seeing Rod Millen break the minute for the first time back in the late 80s, and I always used to watch the event in a bit of awe, so it's always nice to come back here, and obviously really relaxed atmosphere and a lot of fun.
And for everyone who's watched the New Zealand Rally Championship this year, your Hyundai AP4 car, same car, but obviously it's got the aero. What sort of behind the scenes have you had to put into this car to make it a real challenger?
It's definitely been a big effort by the team. Obviously only 3 weeks to transform the car since the last New Zealand Rally Championship, so we put the bigger motor in it. That's probably actually the easy part, just literally changing the motor. It's all the other plumbing, all the components around that. Obviously the aero that we've sort of stumbled across, no sort of testing, just it looks good, we'll try that sort of thing, and a few new electronics in the car to try and control the engine, things a lot better, so it's certainly very exciting to drive. It's a lot of fun, very fast, and we haven't even wound it up yet.
Hayden, the first one you competed here, how old were you and what were you driving?
I remember actually on my 14th birthday, it's my father's Toyota Corolla, and I was a bag of nerves, so to think that was 17 years ago though, that's quite scary.
Marvellous. And ever since, it's been an event that you've always wanted to come and compete at. I mean, you wouldn't be competing in Europe one weekend and then coming home to New Zealand to a rally sprint, would you really, in normal circumstances?
No, well, obviously we haven't really done a whole lot. We did it in 2011, and then of course we did it last year, and last year we just got the bug. We got the bug of not really having a rule book that you had to follow. We could do what we want, and okay, I'm not an engineer, but I love the ideas, and I love sitting down with the team, and we sit down what we're going to do, brainstorming, and coming up with these sort of new ideas and how to make a car go physically as fast as you possibly can make it go, and that's what I love. I love going fast, and here you can no hold back, and just obviously the record's a great benchmark, so yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And such a special built car for this event. How's it been going this weekend? Have you had any teething issues that you've had to work through?
Yeah, not easy so far. We had a couple of nice clean runs to start with, but this morning we've just got a few gear shift problems, so we're finding that with the big turbo and obviously the big exhaust pipe, it's creating a lot more temperature under the bonnet, and obviously things are running a lot closer to the gearbox, so unfortunately at the moment the gear shaft's seizing up externally from the gearbox, so we're just trying to find ways to cool that and to try and solve that problem so we can actually find some gears.
And the 54.96 is the current record here. You've obviously got your eyes on that. How do you think the Hyundai is going to go towards that record?
Yeah, I think the record will be broken, not just by us. I think all three, Alistair and Sloan as well. I think it's going to be quite close come the end of the day, so we're going to have to obviously try and up the game a little bit, but I think once we wind the car up, there's more power to come, put a new set of tyres and things like that on it. I think a 52 is possible, but obviously we're going to have everything dialed in just right to do that.
And in years past, of course, we've seen in the pits things like tyre warmers and all sorts of tricks to get those tyres up to temperature. Anything like that in your team?
We've got some tyre warmers, but we don't know how to use them because you don't really often use those things in a rally. So we'll flick them on later on and see if it's just like the microwave. You just press on start, stop, and see what happens.
Hayden, tremendous that you've been competing in Rally Turkey. You've come all the way back to the other side of the world to do Ashley Forest, and then no doubt not long before you'll be on a plane and back to the other side of the world again.
Yeah, I'm back on the plane tomorrow and then testing in Wales on Wednesday, so it's just straight back into another rally. And to be honest, okay, obviously the travel is not as great as it may seem, but driving all the time, I love it. So going from one rally to the next, and it helps you be more competitive. And at the end of the day, there's no substitute for miles. So yeah, straight back for Wales rally, and then the weekend after that, got the last round New Zealand Championship up in Raglan as well.
The travel must be a burden, though. People say it's nice to fly around the world and carry on, but it must be get a bit hard on you.
The novelty has worn off a while ago, but at the end of the day, I'm lucky to do what we do as well. Sure. So I've learned how to sleep on a plane, so that helps. If you fall off, you go to sleep, and it's a time to turn off the phone and not be too distracted and just relax, actually, which is nice to do sometimes.
Yeah. So where do you base yourself when you're in Europe? Is there any central base?
My suitcase still. So,
suitcase still.
No, I spend a lot of time in Sardinia. So my partner's there, so right. Yeah, that's good. But obviously a lot more time in New Zealand this year as well. So. We've got our rally team and workshop based in Auckland, and then the family's down in Wanaka. So yeah, literally here, there, and everywhere.
So Geraldine is no longer home.
Well, it is home. It's where I grew up, yeah. But no, I don't go there so often anymore. I pass through maybe a couple of times a year. My grandparents are still there, Nana and Granddad and Geraldine. So of course go see them from time to time.
And also, Hayden, we must thank you and your company because you've taken the title sponsorship of the event here this year, and also supporting our live streaming coverage with the Winmax brakes. Tell us a little bit about the brakes while you're here.
Yeah, it's obviously an opportunity. We had, obviously Winmax have been supporting me in the WRC for the last 3 or 4 years, and it's a brand that we've been working quite closely with, and part of that partnership is that they're helping us being able to supply a really good pad for competitors here in New Zealand at really good prices. And I've always wanted to help competitors, so obviously I want to be in rally for life, so beyond WRC is having an industry or having a company within that industry, but I also like helping competitors, and now we've got a product that we can actually supply to people at quite a low price, but it's a premium product, and I don't believe if you get something really cheap that you have to go put massive margins on it. Everything's fair, and then if we can pass it on to help people save a few dollars so they can go rallying, then it's a win-win for everyone.
And the rest of your World Rally Championship campaign now, just 2 more events to go for you?
Yep, Wales in just under 2 weeks, and then unfortunately we missed Spain, but then the final round in Australia, so still plenty of rallying this year.
And all those 2 events, how do you compare them? How do you like them?
I enjoy both of them. Wales I actually really enjoy in terms of the nature of the stages. Obviously wet, muddy, foggy, quite fast roads. For some reason, a good result sort of eluded us there in the past, so it'd be nice to try and correct that. And of course, Australia is almost a bit like a home rally, so it'd be nice to try and finish on a high.
Well, for a couple of old rally supporters from 40 years in this game, for Lindsay and I we often said we never thought in our lifetime we'd see a New Zealander and then a very exclusive World Rally Championship Drivers program. But congratulations on taking New Zealand to the top of the world, and all the very best for your campaign for the rest of the year.
Thanks, and thanks for what you guys are doing. This Momax stuff with the live coverage is top class, and that's what takes club events to the next level, and it's only going to help our sport. So good job by you guys.
Brilliant. Thanks, Hayden. Thanks for taking the time to come and join us here for the live coverage here today. So the Ashley Forest Rally Sprint coverage brought to you by Winmax brake pads, Hayden's company of course, and we appreciate the support that they have supplied to bring this live streaming to you and around the world, where we have people watching from all over Philippines, Osaka, Japan, Ballarat, Indonesia, Wales, Maine and USA, Germany, India, the Gold Coast, and of course so many people watching the live coverage from around New Zealand. And thanks to the Momac production team for bringing this to you wherever you are watching today, the first time in that live streaming or broadcasting in any form has happened since 1993. As we just get set to wait for the first competitors in the top 32 to start these elimination rounds. Of course, as we mentioned, top 32 then becomes top 16, top 8 top 4 and top 2. And you heard Hayden say that maybe a 52 is on the cards. Well, that is absolutely an astonishing time to think that they would be eyeing up a 52 as a potential new course record here at Ashley Forest, currently held by Sloane Cox at a 54.96. So there we are, and a special thanks as Hayden is one of our live streaming sponsoring partners, as we mentioned, with the Winmax brakes, also the Magnum Group, Carter's Tyre Service here in Rangiora, the British Safety Team and Import Parts, who have clubbed together and helped us bring this live streaming coverage to you today. Top 32 we get set for as the crowds pour in for the money end of the Ashley Forest Rally Sprints, and what a fantastic day to be out enjoying rally sprinting here at its very best at Ashley Forest. The crowd's heading up through the forest to the vantage points up the course. At the very top of the course, we understand they have the barbecue going, the coffee shop going, and there's plenty of food and drinks and refreshments available on course here for you if you're coming to join us at Ashley Forest for the event here in North Canterbury.
And their weekend will be over. Yeah, one of the two of the cars just warming up their brakes and tyres.
So we can hear on the background some of the cars warming up tyres and brakes, getting ready for the elimination rounds.
So now we have a look.
And we just wait to see who the first competitor that has made the cuts comes to the line. And then of course we will also have the class runoffs, as we mentioned earlier, the 0 to 1300cc class, then the 1301 to 1600, the historic cars. So still plenty to play for here, as they say, at Ashley Forest, because these are now the runoffs from here on in that determine the winners, class winners and overall winners for the Winmax Brakes Ashley Forest Rally Sprint.
And the sun itself is class is no different. Johnson doing a
Bit of the settings menu for like exposure and stuff. How do you get rid of that once it's up?
Yeah, Johnny Brensel, he was 40th overall, but it was, in fact,
Rightio, here we are for the top 32. We've taken 30 off the list, and we're now into the business end of the day. It's Phil Walker and the Mazda RX-7 will be first away. I don't believe this is in the order that the slowest to the quickest. I'm not sure. We haven't got a list as yet, but anyway, Phil Walker's best time was a 109.89, so I suspect that might have been the cut-off point, Grant. I'm not sure.
It's a very quick time to start cutting down to 32.
We'll have to wait and see. It's where we're at. But anyway, it's Phil Walker, the ex-Formula 4 driver, now into his RX-7 rally car, is the first away.
Phil's the current Motorsport Club champion, of course,
and of course the fastest of the two-wheel drives will be the ones that starting the top end of the 32. That was a nice tight line around the hairpin for Phil Walker in the RX-7 as he heads to the downhill part of the course.
63, sorry, to the colour light hairpin.
Let's just wait and see what Phil's time is.
So this should be about a 108. This should start it off as he comes down through the Kumo Tyres finish line. And a time off 108.90.
108.90 for Phil Walker. So that's a second faster than he's been all weekend.
Yeah,
so
just like that.
That's probably maximum attack, I'd say, for Phil in the RX-7.
Yeah.
But a great effort, good on you, Phil. 108.90.
And the Masters in the 80.
As our second
And I see he's got a gift to you on the side of the escort.
runner in the top 32 elimination comes to the line. And this is Derek Asen.
Automotive, HRT.
Yeah, surprisingly so. The only BDA escort in the field of 62 that started is Derek Asen. Derek Asen from Southland, very seasoned campaigner.
So Derek got down to a 109.66.
Which I suggest he's capable of a bit quicker than that too in that car.
Brake pads, Ashley Forest Rallysport. It's been a number of years since we've seen him. He's all the way from Gore. And a very
Yep, so
competitive
Derek
driver.
Asen, yes, all the way from Gore. Started rallying in 1998. Has won a number of rally championships, competing for the second time here at the Ashley Forest Rally Sprint. Car number 42.
42.35, the colour light hairpin.
Thanks to the boss Ryan, who's been across the road to get some official documents for us. So
So this will be about a 108.
yeah.
We're aiming for
So the fastest of these two-wheel drive historic guys, in fact, are the ones that are doing that, the first of the elimination. Ooh.
107.98.
107.98.
So the order is in fact their number order, which is pretty logical.
Yep.
And our next competitor after Derek will be Bert Murray from Waimate in the Group B RX-7.
Bert Murray is ex-Richard Kelsey car. So it's a sister car to Rob Miller back in the day. All the way from
Yep, as we mentioned, this is the
He's a former North Island.
ex
For that. He's a what?
the ex Kelsey car, sister car to Rod Millen's RX-7 in the same Mazda livery that Rod had the car painted in the USA. As another RX-7 squats on the back, digs its way out and claws itself up the hill in that long, tall first gear. And Bert's got down to a 107.50 as his fastest time so far this weekend.
And of course he said that
Let's just see what Bert Murray can pull out of the bag for his final run today.
so we know Paul's fast. Sorry, we know Bert's fast up to the top, 42.19. That was his quickest time.
So you think we're starting here in Lindsay with the top 32, and they're all under the 08 marks at the moment, and to think that once upon a time a 110 would have won you the event. Technology moves on.
Yes, indeed. The very first one with dear John Wolfe, the 110. 110 it was, I think. Yes.
Oh! Big patter sideways as he comes down towards the final corner.
$106.03
106.03 for Bert Murray.
And a 106.03 would have won him the event in 1984.
Which is probably about the age of the car.
Well, yes, you're right. Yeah, it would be around that time.
Up to the line now comes Paul Mullen in this rapid little Corolla. So car number 35. So Datsun 1200 with the 1.8 litre Nissan engine installed under the bonnet.
Nothing like a Datsun 1200 under that, that's for sure.
And of course it's two-wheel drive.
And Paul's fastest time previously has been a 1:11.
He's got to get quicker than a 41.40.
So we hear 41.40 is going to be a time he needs to make to the Hella hairpin.
Get through the notorious notice corner.
And
The uphill kick.
good effort around the hairpin.
44.85.
44.85 for Paul Mullen at the hairpin.
That looks like it's going to be the slower one.
So obviously giving away a bit of horsepower here to the RX-7s that have been just before him in the BDA Escort. But let's just have a look and see what he can
Predecessor runners.
max this car out to as he comes across the finish line.
1:12.06.
So 12.06 for Paul Mullen.
Highly doubt that that's going to be quick enough to make
So
it 32, but fantastic effort.
he had been a little bit faster on a 1:11, so a 12.06 for Paul Mullen. That's probably his exit out of the event for the day. As coming up to the line is the Jim Tennant, who's been driving both the Nissan 240 RS and this Toyota Altezza. And Jim managed to get the Toyota round the course in 1:11.01. So can he drop into the single digits with the Altezza? So Jim originally bought this car in tarmac spec and he's changed it for the gravel.
Well, it certainly is for the two-wheel drive. It's not so bad for the
And
four-wheel drive.
probably a little bit different to the Nissan 240 RS that he competes in as well, Jim Tennant
So as the day gets on, that room certainly gets more and more
from
dug up.
Christchurch.
Certainly becomes in the favour of the four-wheel drive cars. So we'll see what time Jim can do. Well, he was rallying back in the heyday in the
So
80s.
he's got it safely around, a little bit of sideways coming out of the hairpin for Jim Tennant in the Toyota Altezza. And on the run down the hill he comes now.
Lights hairpin for gentleman Jim Tennant. So a little bit slower than Paul, but not by a lot. 1.5 inch, that's all the loads in there. So pretty even up through that split.
So here he comes down to the finish line. And let's just see if he can drop into the single digits. 1:12.79. So nope, he didn't manage to keep his best till last, as they say, because he did a 1:11.01 in qualifying 4.
Car 33, this is Shane Mackay.
Car 33 is Shane Mackay, the next.
Shane Mackay from Otaki in the Hibiscus Coast there, and his Subaru Impreza.
Started at the right age, around about 30. He's sponsored by Graham.
So we just hear that in fact Shane started his rally career at the age of 30, so a bit of a late starter, but he's doing all right because he's in the top 32. So Shane Mackay, of course, this car, although it's a Subaru Impreza, is not a four-wheel drive version. This is two-wheel drive, and he was in the unlimited two-wheel drive class. His best time being a 1:11.32, and that was the last run he did here in qualification 4 run. So Shane Mackay from Otaki, seeing if he can get his car down into the single digits. Round the hairpin okay. On the downhill run comes Shane Mackay in the two-wheel drive Subaru Impreza. So, almost to the finish line.
Over in Europe, just make the times here. 45.88 split. 1:11.970.
1:11.97 for Shane Mackay.
Next we have Chris Hay from Mosgiel and his little pocket rocket, the Toyota MR2, powered by the Nissan turbo engine, mid-mounted engine.
Just watching our pictures here, Lindsay, you see that Chris is just realigning the car in a slightly different place,
Yeah,
because these ruts, as you say, particularly in the two-wheel drive cars, makes it pretty hard work to get off the line without bogging down and losing some time with your back wheels in the ditches, basically.
Well, it is really.
This is the man that holds the two-wheel drive record here, and he's won it for 10 times in the past. Will this be number 11? And we suspect it will be, because... No!
Oh!
No. So something has broken on his car off the start line. Chris Hay is going to back down the course, and such a shame he will be out of the top 32
Yes, that
elimination.
put him out of overall contention now.
But he may still hold, well, he probably still will hold the two-wheel drive unlimited trophy for the event this weekend, because he's done a 1:04.64 has been his fastest time. So
He has to compete
nobody's
for
going
that,
to
no.
to take that off him for at least two-wheel drive honours, I would think.
Yeah, I'd think. Unless there was a missed time at the start.
Ah, hang on, you might be right.
Yeah. And they called him back. I think that's what's happened.
Well, it was good that he got the call early on.
And then jumping back into the four-wheel drive time special.
So that's good news for Chris Hay, because this is an amazing car to see around this Ashley Forest Rally Sprint course. So just picking the spot to line the car up for the launch, and the hockey stick goes under the wheel and revs it up, gets ready for a takeoff. Chris Hay.
Yep.
No doubt about the launch this time.
It's all go this time. Doesn't happen very often these days, a missed time. I remember years ago it happened quite a bit where the old hockey stick didn't trigger.
Well, at least they've got the hockey stick rather than the man with the stopwatch pushing the button, so...
That's right.
So, here comes Chris Hay to the hairpin, goes in wide, trying to get a tight line out, and he does, oh, a wee bit wide, but Chris Hay heads on the downhill part of the course now, and it's brilliant little MR2. So, so, wow, quick time, quick run.
And of course you've got some hot competition this weekend. from Paddon, and of course, Alistair McRae. Now, Alistair McRae is a bit of a hard one.
Still waiting to hear Chris's time to come through as Sheldon Bell comes to the line, and the first of the four-wheel drive runners.
During the whole weekend, he's going to get quicker in that car in the street. He has very quick drive in that car. He's a top driver. So I'm still keeping my eye on him. So I know he'll drop seconds in no time and he'll be right up at the record pace. My haters can go right now.
And this is Michael Tom.
And hopefully I get to interview you at the end of the event.
Thank you for having me here.
So Michael Tom is into the top 32 along with the car owner, which is Sheldon Bell, and Sheldon's actually put down the a very quick time. He got down to a 102.
103.88 for Chris Hay.
103.88.
Not his best time, remembering his record time is a 102.15.
Still time for that, of course.
Yeah.
Wonder what the cutoff will be to get to the top 16.
Oh, well.
What do you think?
Yeah.
It's going to be the low 1 minutes, that's for sure.
Yeah, it is.
So Sheldon Bell, sorry, not Sheldon Bell, Michael Tom.
Here he comes. Across the finish line, the Chemo Tyres finish line at the time of
105.75, so that's a good time for Michael Tom, because I don't think he's got out of the 111s earlier during the qualifying run, so to drop 6 seconds off his time on the final run for Michael Tom is a very good effort, a 105.75, and that hopefully will get him towards the top 16.
So next one we have is Sam Gardner, local man Sam Gardner in the Ageing Legacy. Only his second year of competing, and so he'd be pretty pleased to make the cut.
Sam's quickest time so far was in qualification 4 at a 110.14. So Sam Gardner heads up the course with lots of revs, lots of noise, and good to see Sam Gardner in the top 32 as he heads up towards the hairpin at the top of the course.
So Sam will be looking around about the 40-second mark to get to the colour hairpin.
So we talked about the hairpin split, it being, you need to be under 40, don't you, Lindsay, to make sure you're going to carry on through the elimination round?
I think so.
42.68 to that.
42.68. May not be quick enough.
Descent starts through the Flower Hotel dipper and then down through the
So
couple of right-handers to the
Sam Gardner comes down through the dipper and heads towards the final corner and the finish line.
Has been 110.74. He'll have to go a lot quicker than that. Well, he did go quite a bit quicker. 108. Sorry, 108.72.
108.72 for Sam Gardner. So
It's a very good time on that car. He'd be very pleased with that time.
yep, that's pulled another couple of seconds off that time. So good work, Sam Gardner.
next car up online. This is
Here comes Craig Cox
Craig Cox from Christchurch
and the Mitsubishi Evo 2.
sponsored by Countrywide Distributors, Agas Oil, and Oscar's Alley Cafe.
So first time for Craig Cox here.
Gravel sprint this year.
His last event he competed in was the South Canterbury Rally, but he didn't finish due to an engine fire. So he's in his first year of rallying, and all he has done is 3 rallies and 3 sprints. And now here he is at Ashley Forest and into the top 32. So not a bad effort for Craig in his very first season of Rallysport. Craig Cox makes his way up towards the hairpin.
106.94 is his best by 106.54.
And while we say that he's only done 3 rallies, 3 sprints, in fact he spent many years doing ATV quad bikes before moving to rallying, so good balance training I would suggest here. A 108.46 has been his previous best time. He might be getting close to a 106 as we... So let's just see what he does.
$106.13.
106.13, so over 2 seconds knocked off his... No, I beg your pardon, because he managed to do a 105.91, I beg your pardon, in qualifying 4, so slightly slower, 106.13. Didn't quite keep the best till last. As Willie Hawes lines up in the Toyota Celica, car number 26. The Toyota Celica GT4. He's a mechanical engineer, so that probably helps in getting the best out of this Toyota Celica GT4.
He's competed here in 2014, 15 and 17.
Did a 106.54 in the last qualification run before the top 32. So what can Willie Hawes from Christchurch lay down on the top 32 runoff for him?
Well, his best time so far is a 106.54.
Up towards the Hella hairpin goes Willie Hawes.
Well, he had a bit of a whoopsie around the right hander, the kick, but he's still going, so that's good news.
So a little bit of whoopsie we hear at the right hander, but 52.03 at the split, so that's probably not going to be good enough to keep the Celica in the competition for the top 16. So let's see what Willie can stop the clocks at as he comes around the final corner across the finish line. 117.91, so no, that cost him a lot of time, and a 117.91 will not be good enough to continue into the top 16. As car number 25 comes to the line,
Scott Jones from South Canterbury, a club man really.
A bit more boogie under the bottom there, Lindsay.
Yeah, the car's got a bit of history, previously owned by 2 well-known competitors on the national scene in Regan Ross and Marcus Van Klink. The Mitsubishi Evo 8.
And he tells it 650 horsepower under the bonnet. I think Regan would have liked to have had 650 horsepower on that when he owned it.
And I would say that he'll make the top 16.
So Scott Jones's best time was a 104.06, and that was in qualification run 4. He did a 104.53, so the car capable of 4s. Can he get it down into 3s and 2s, which is what he might need to get to the top 16?
38.82.
38.82 to the split at the hairpin. That's the quickest so far in the top 32 run, so he's definitely on target to stay in the top 16 for sure. Scott Jones.
The scrutineering has said his aim was to make it to the top 16, and I think he should well and truly do that.
So waiting for Scott's time to come through.
103.41.
103.41.
It's a handy time.
Still the quickest run so far. Scott Jones is right on the money card. 24 steps.
So local from Rangiora, Sam Hurley comes to the to the start box now.
Another one of those drives that's punched above his weight over the years. The local man from Rayora and this There was a no-nonsense start from
So he has finished 6th overall here in previous events as being his best result, and he's only done 3 before. So he'll be wanting to see if he can get into the top 16 for sure. Top 8 might be a big ask this year with the some of those faster cars here at the pointy end of the field. But still, Sam Hurley is hurling it about the hairpin shortly. Here he goes.
So we're just about to get the time.
He's only started rallying 7 years ago.
43.84.
He's a 43.84 at the hairpin.
So that looks like he's lost a bit of time there somewhere.
So he may well have lost some time indeed on the way up the hill. Downhill he comes towards the finish line, the final turn, and Sam Hurley stops the clocks at a 1:11.01. So that certainly has cost him some time. That must have been a reasonable whoopsie,
Yeah.
because to drop from his 1:04s to a 1:11 for Sam Hurley.
Yeah, I'm sorry it must have happened in a place where we obscure from our view here.
So this is Corey McCaskill.
This is Corey's second or third visit
So
here.
as Lindsay just referred to there, the course not entirely covered by our camera crews. The live streaming relying on Wi-Fi camera coverage, and a couple of spots on the way up the hill have blind spots where it is just impossible to get Wi-Fi coverage. So
One of his motorsport highlights is going to
if we miss the odd
last 2 years
incident on the way up the hill, that's the first part of the hill we're able to cover, as you can see, so we miss a few seconds on the way up. But Corey's got to that camera position as he heads towards the hairpin now.
So on the course, Corey McCaskill, who had a horrible accident here last night that caused quite a big delay when he slammed into the bank at the end of the finish line. Luckily everything was okay. The car didn't look the best, but they've done a great job overnight to fix the car.
Yeah, so this should put him in around the 106, 105.
Corey McCaskill, car number 23.
Closer to 107, but we'll just have to wait and see he comes through.
With the bigger injectors in the car, let's see if it's good enough to
Here he comes. And he's
get him to the top 16. 105.64 for Corey McCaskill. So, in fact, that is the identical time that Corey did in the previous run to the thousands.
How often would that happen?
You wouldn't put your money on it, would you?
Not to thousands, no.
Well done, Corey McCaskill, as Mike Baltrop comes to the line.
Even a hundredth, Grant, you wouldn't do that. The same again would be pretty remote.
Exactly. You often hear circuit racing drivers that can get within the 100th, but on a loose surface like this.
Yeah.
WRX and Preza rallied in New Zealand.
So Mike Baltrop, his best time he's put down here at Ashley Forest in the past has been a 1:06, and the best time he's put down this weekend has been a 1:08.09. So he's been here 8 or 9 times before. Began competing in 1985. Competed for 18 years, mostly in Subaru cars. Had a break and has started back last year in his Subaru WRX. So they're predicting maybe a 105 for Mike Baltrop this time, which would be in fact better than he's been before if he can do that. Let's see. Here he is, through the finish line.
Kumo Tyres finish line.
106.65, so he's equalled his best by doing another 106 in the top 32 run here.
I got a funny feeling that mightn't be enough for the top 16 though.
No, we were sort of indicating the fives are going to be where it's, it might even be down to the fours yet.
Yeah, it could be.
Incredible. Jeff Judd with the Magnum Subaru Impreza, of course the Magnum Group, part of our live streaming sponsor partners here this weekend. Jeff Judd. He's done a 104.24 in the past, and that was on his second run here yesterday. Dropped to a 109 with a wee bit of a whoopsie in the last rounds, but let's see what Jeff can pop down this time. Jeff Judd from Christchurch, from the Magnum Group, that of course have stores in Christchurch and a new branch just opened in Dunedin. Magnum Automotive, well known for compliance, motorsport compliance, as well as general servicing of vehicles as well. 38.65 to the hella hairpin for Jeff Judd, and that's reasonably handy time for Jeff Judd as he flings the Subaru Impreza down the course towards the finish line. So Jeff Judd on a mission.
Always fair early, and he just clipped the apex in the corner there in the time of 102.49.
102.49.
It's a good time. It's a very good time from Jeff. How's that compare, Grant?
That's a very good time.
With his own previous
his own
times.
previous, yes. Previously a 104.24.
Yeah, that's a significant improvement.
So, but Jeff's been around this game long enough to know that the money one counts from now on, and this is where you've got to keep it clean, keep the focus, try and go faster and faster to stay in the running as the field continues to be halved with each run. From 32, we're now looking for just 16 cars to continue on.
They're doing double duty.
As Jason Clark from Havelock lines up in the Mitsubishi Evo 5. Of course, he's been in the two-wheel drive class with a Corolla, but he's here for the top 32 rounds in his Mitsubishi Evo.
We're just sorting it out, so Jason Clark will be on his way very, very shortly. So Jason's been pretty good today, and over the weekend.
So he's a rally class winner here last year. He said he's put a better diff in the car since he was here before. And he's been getting a few tips from Richard Bateman, who comes from the same neck of the woods, Blenheim, the Havelock area. And Richard Bateman's been giving him lots of advice because Richard Bateman, a very experienced competitor, and Jason's got a few tips off him, he says. And let's see whether the teacher or the pupil turns out to be the fastest in the top 32.
Yes. Great for competition scenarios like that, aren't they?
You can lose a lot of time out of there, which can be absolutely crucial for your downhill run.
Good effort around the hairpin for Jason Clark. 38.85 at the hairpin, so he's under that 40-second mark, so looking like a good run for Jason Clark.
Here he comes. Well, the dust is blazing as he comes across the Kumo Tyres finish line. And we'll just wait for the time. 102.59.
102.59 for Jason Clark, so that's a very good effort. His best was in qualifying 4 at a 103.65, so dropped that by just over a second for Jason Clark. 1:02.59, and here he is, Richard Bateman, as we mentioned, also from that neck of the woods, and Richard Bateman from Blenheim also has been driving 2 cars during the competition this weekend, a 2-wheel drive car and also his Mitsubishi 4-wheel drive Evo 9. So Richard Bateman has been in the 102s on the last run, did a 102.05. He's probably trying to get into a 101, I would say. Well, round the hairpin goes Richard Bateman, and onto the downhill course now. 38.12 is split to the Hella hairpin. Down towards the finish line, this very fast downhill run, and he's through the finish line. 101.52, so he's done that. Dropped just a few hundredths to get down to 101.52. Richard Bateman. He will be into the top 16 for sure, as Matt Summerfield comes to the line. Car number 17. Local Rangiora Rally hero, Matt Summerfield, and the Subaru Impreza. Of course, he drives the Mitsubishi Mirage AP4 in the New Zealand Rally Championship Series, and is one of 4 drivers heading into the final round, with the potential to finish runner-up to the title that Hayden Paddon has already clinched. Matt Summerfield heads up the course. He did a 101.06 in qualifying 4. Can Matt Summerfield find more time in the Subaru Impreza as he heads up to the Hella hairpin?
3 times winner here at Ashley Forest. Only 2 others have achieved that same fate, and that's Kim Austin and Steve Murphy.
A nice fast exit out of the hairpin. That was a very good effort around the hairpin, and he's flying downhill as Matt Summerfield. Can he get it into the 1 minute bracket?
Here he comes, he's there flying, he's going to be late on the brakes here, but under control.
101.02, and he's dropped it from a 101.06. So
maybe getting near the end. The limit on that for that car at the moment.
As Eric Clark from Invercargill lines up in his Subaru Legacy with WRX engine and mechanicals underneath. Eric Clark got down to a 109 in his last run, but he's going to need to pull a few seconds off that to make it to the top 16.
He was here in 2009, so he'd be looking to go close to 40 seconds to the hairpin.
So, what time can Eric Clark get to the hairpin? To the hairpin he goes. 42.23, so don't think that will transpond to a time that will be quick enough to get to the top 16.
Yeah, well, that's basically the time he did to the split matches, the time he did in the fourth run to get that quickest time. So he'll be looking around about
Down to the finish line comes Eric Clark, and let's see what he stops the clock at.
1:10.66 for Eric Clark. That's the last time we'll see Eric Clark, I imagine, this weekend. We can't have a 15. Sheldon Bell from Christchurch, Mitsubishi Evo 1.
Not sure what. Just missed Eric Clark's time, but I don't think it'll go on to the top 16 as Sheldon Bell comes to the line. Sheldon's done a 1:02.03, and that was a very, very good time. In fact, it probably stands as the third fastest time at the moment in the four-wheel drive rally car class. But looking good as he heads up towards the Hella hairpin. He's done a 1:02 twice so far this weekend. No doubt he's keen to drop that into a 1:01 or quicker. 39.33 to the hairpin. As Sheldon Bell flings the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 1 downhill towards the finish line.
Down, here he comes, across the finish line, the Turbo Tyres finish line. I think it might be the 1:02. It's a 1:02.99.
1:02.99, so he's done a 1:02.96, a 1:02.03 and a 1:02.99. He's consistent.
He's very consistent.
And probably is your standard rally car, but just basically no restrictor. That's probably not too much more will come out of that car, I wouldn't think.
If it does, he's driving above himself, really, isn't he?
Probably after his sideways excursion through the finish line and collecting the hay bales yesterday, he's probably a little bit cautious. And certainly he wants to make it to the top 16, and that time will be good enough for that for sure, as we see Sean Haggerty on the start line. Sean's done a couple of 1:04s. So that will probably get him into the top 16, but I'm sure he wants to get into the 3s or 2s.
So he'll be looking to go quicker again in this 32. See how he goes, because
as he comes up towards the hairpin, Sean Haggerty from Rangiora.
Sean Haggerty is currently 12th in the mainland series overall.
He finished 7th overall at the Hanna Rally a few weeks back.
39.59, that's good time.
39.59 at the hairpin.
Yeah, so this will be 1:03.
So Sean Haggerty. 1:02.34 for Sean Haggerty, so he has got down into the 2s. And it's looking at the rally car class too. It looks like we've got Jeff Judd on a 1:02.49, we've got Jason Clark on a 1:02.59, Sheldon Bell on a 1:02.99, Haggerty on a 1:02.34, and then a couple of ones with Richard Bateman 1:01.52 and a 1:01.02 for Matt Summerfield, still the fastest of the rally car four-wheel drive competitors. So Nick Clark from Kaipoi in the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 6 RS heads up the course.
So you'll be looking to go the 43 previous run, of course, with a 109.09, so he'll be looking to go quicker.
So this is the car he is sharing with Sean Haggerty. So Sean managed to
41.70 to the Hella Light Hairpin.
do a time of 1:02.34.
That's a pretty respectable time to the
What
hairpin.
will Nick Clark do?
109. Here he comes. Even a touch quicker for his Flower Hotel dipper. Now he's coming around towards the Sumo Tyres finish line. Here he is. So I suggest that will be the last
1:09.38. That will not be good enough for Nick Clark to get into the top 16.
A handful of cars to go. Car number 12.
So car number 12 is next, car number 11 next to the line, which is Luke McLennan from Ashburton.
Sponsored by ABR Performance and Panel and Paint.
Oh, whatever.
There's always one of the Ashburton's top peddlers is Luke McLennan. Does the street run in Ashburton?
Sounded very talky. He took off there, Luke McLennan.
Okay, well, his first year in a Mazda 3.
Best result so far at Ashley Forest has been 12th, so he's got into the top 16.
Another one of those ageing Mitsubishi Evos that have performed so well in rallying and indeed in this event as well.
584, so he'd be looking to go under 40 seconds to the split, 40.64.
So he did a 1:05.84 previously.
Also to finish in the top 16 for the 5th time at the Winmax brake pads Ashley Forest Rallysport.
So Luke McLennan,
41.59, I'm not too sure.
41.59, that's probably a bit too slow at the hairpin to translate to a time fast enough to go through to the top 16. But let's wait and see what he stops the clock at as he comes around the final corner now.
So the time for Luke McLennan is 106.83.
1:06.83 for Luke McLennan. And not as fast as the 1:05.84 he did previously. So car number 10 up to the start line now, Jason McConnell in the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 7. His previous result was 18th, so he didn't quite get into the top 16. Managed to do a 1:06.23. That's his fastest time so far this weekend.
So he needs quite a bit more, I think. The car's probably capable of it. Depends on Jason's run.
And this is the third runner in Class 6, which is the unlimited four-wheel drive class.
Yeah, this is the heavy brigade.
40.88.
So you should be looking around about 206, 207 run this time for Big J.
So Jason McConnell from Christchurch heads towards the finish line. Will he be fast enough to get through to the top 16?
Come down through the Flower Hotel, waiting for him to appear at the Kumo Tyres finish line. Here he comes, Jason McConnell. What will the time bring? So, Jason McConnell's time, a 106.36, sorry.
106.36 for Jason McConnell, so slightly slower than his best in the fourth qualifying round of a 106.23, as Garrett Thomas lines up, and he currently has the fourth fastest time of the weekend.
Which is proving again to us that this guy's got some class.
He has indeed.
Yep.
He was on the minute last time, just 1 minute .90. Beautifully prepared car by Dave Ollis at Woodend Automotive.
Yeah, this car scampers well, doesn't it?
And I wonder if Dave's managed to wind a wee bit more into this for this run to make sure that Garrett can get through the top 16. I don't think that's an issue. But of course you can't count on any previous times from now on. You have to keep laying down the time to keep going forward. Driving that very nicely, Garrett Thomas, as he heads towards the hairpin. Nice wide line, gets a good turn in and around the hairpin comes Garrett Thomas for the run down the hill.
And I've got to say hi to all the people on the course here who have abandoned or who can't hear the on-course commentary and are now looking at us on their phones, Grant.
The wonders
hearing us on their phones.
The wonders of Wi-Fi technology and being able to pick it up live streaming on your device. 102.30. So a couple of seconds slower there for Garrett, but still good enough to get him through to the next round of 16. So here comes Graham Bajering from Waihi in the Mitsubishi Starion V8, the car that laid the course record that stood for so many years here, having been driven by the late Kim Austin.
Yeah, when this car arrived here in the late 80s, it was certainly something so different that we hadn't had anything like this before. Perhaps Trevor Crow's Starlet was the only other car that raised eyebrows as to being so different from your normal rally car.
So it's sort of similar to the Mitsubishi Cordia, a later model car that's also been used here and set records. In fact, the previous owner of that car, Steve Murphy, will be joining us for a chat in between the elimination rounds. But let's see how Graham Bajering does in the Starion V8 with the 6-litre engine.
Again, a bit quicker, so that's good for Graham Bajering. This should be in about
He's done a 104.68. I don't think he's going to be going too much quicker on this run, but let's just see what he stops the clock at as he comes around the final corner. 103.78. So he drops his time by almost a second. 103.6. In fact, exactly 1 second Graham's taken off his time, because his qualifying 4 run was a 104.68. This time a 103.68.
And now we have Trevor Crow, who in his early 70s just goes to show you that we can still do things like this. He mightn't be as competitive as he was, he doesn't worry him, but he's having a go, and he still puts up some pretty reasonable times, as Trevor. The winner here in 1985 in his Oscar Racing Starlet.
Best time for the weekend is a 101.59.
And his time here in 1985 when he won it was a 104.69. So no,
104.69. In fact, the 101 was when he loaned the car to Mike Tall on his last run.
So what's Trevor's best time? 105.95.
105.95.
Yeah.
tell you what, it's still cut in two-wheel drive. A 104 is no shabby time for a two-wheel drive.
We just wait for Trevor to get to the top of the course and around the hairpin for the run down to the finish line through the famous dipper, through Jennings Corner.
Yeah, I know. Jennings. Just before the dipper, actually. Is it, yeah.
Mark might be listening online.
Well, I wonder.
I wonder if he still lives in the Parapara Umu area.
I know there's...
Waiting for Trevor's time. 103.35.
That's his best time of the weekend, isn't it?
Yes, it is indeed. So, Mike Tall, no, this is not. This is Neil Webb, because we think that, we understand that...
well, Mike Tall's name is not on the list.
That's not either. You are right. So, it is Neil Webb. So the mystery over what happened with Trevor with 2 runs last time continues.
Yeah, it does.
So Neil Webb has managed a 101.84 to date. Can he get into the minute or break the magic minute mark for Neil Webb from Blenheim?
Yeah, these little Mirages, they're unbelievable little rockets, aren't they, Grant? Gosh, they get up and go.
They certainly are.
They're very light.
Light and nimble.
Light and, yeah.
And with all the best Evo running gear inside, makes them a very, very competitive car. He's finished here 3rd 2 years ago. Let's see what Neil can do. He's a bit of a specialist, Neil, at these shorter events. A 2-time hill climb champion. One 1:00.36, so
he'll be
dropped
through
that
all right.
down from the 101s to be on the minute mark. So he'll be trying to get under the minute, no doubt, in the top 16 or top 8. As Alistair McRae comes up to the start line. And the Vantage Subaru Impreza WRC, the late Possum-born car.
So I hope you're all strapped in there up the hill there. As McRae will be very, very spectacular in this car.
So Alistair's got down to a 57.07. He needs to be into the 65s if he wants to be challenging those fast boys. But this time will be good enough to get him through into the next couple of rounds. So really, I guess, Lindsay, they don't have to wind this thing up till he gets down to the top 4, do they?
No, you don't really. Got to be careful, don't you, though? You got to be careful, Grant. Is it you don't want to be, you know, a hiccup here can see you gone, just like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's elimination, and you've got to keep going. 56.91.
So a good time there from Alistair. He has improved.
So all his times are hovering around that mark.
He's a bit
slower than what he's done.
56.91. That's his fastest time of the weekend.
Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon, Lindsay.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the wrong line. You are correct. 56.91 from a 57.07. So you are correct. Just getting a little bit quicker, chipping away, and Hayden Paddon now in the Hyundai.
Hayden Paddon, all the way from Geraldine originally. First competed here at the age of 14 in his dad's Corolla. Now has 7 podiums on the World Rally stage, including a victory in Argentina.
And third last time out for the Rally Turkey. And if you caught our commentary with Hayden when he came to have an interview with us just before we started into the top 32, he mentioned one of the little issues with this car is the heat that is being generated under the bonnet and causing a bit of an issue with the gear selection. So let's hope this all holds together, and he certainly has been the pace setter so far this weekend with a 55.41. And if you listen to Hayden's interview, he was hoping...
My goodness, a 32.89 to the top. That would be the quickest to the top, I would say, ever.
Hayden's got his eyes on a 52, he told us.
$55 flat.
And with the record being 54.96, that is as close as you can get.
And he's got potentially 3 more runs to go.
He knows what he's doing. He's got the side up. Brilliant.
Well, he told us he wants to break the record, doesn't he?
So here comes the current record holder, Sloane Cox, the 54.96. So he'll be looking in his rear vision mirror because he knows that Hayden Paddon is putting the challenge down to try and take that record off him here today.
Yes, you're right, Grant. At the corner of his eye and in his rear vision mirror as well, on every which way but lose. You'll be...
Pop, bang, away it goes. Sloane Cox firing the space-framed Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 8 up the course.
A wonderful noise, these cars, Grant.
Indeed.
You know, in 100 years' time they could be here and you won't be able to hear a thing.
Oh! So
dear.
Sloane has spun.
Oh no, that's it.
This could
that
put
would
him
be
out of
it.
contention.
Sloane Cox will be out. Oh dear.
Folks, you've seen it live here on the Momac live streaming.
It just takes, just saying, was that the curse of commentators?
Indeed.
One mistake, it's all over, and that potentially is it.
So I would say it's back to the trailer for Sloane Cox, and so he's going to have to, absolutely fly, as they say, downhill. The chance, here he comes down through the finish control.
The whole momentum would have been lost.
Oh no, 113.17.
113.17. That's Sloane Cox. Goodbye. What a shame.
That's a shame.
Indeed, because that now leaves the really, by looking at the time so far, Lindsay, it's going to be Hayden Paddon and Alistair McRae runoff, I think, at the end of the day.
Yep. But don't talk too soon. What's happened to Sloane Cox can happen to anybody.
You are dead right. There can be a mechanical happen.
Anything, a spin like that.
Because when it comes to elimination, sudden death, no times carry forward. You've got to keep laying down the time to keep it going. So there we are. So
Steve,
there it is. The top 32 as we wait now for the top 16. We continue? We continue? So the crowd's milling down the bottom of the hill to get a bit of food and refreshment, no doubt, ready for the top 16 run-off here today. And we'd like to welcome to our control centre in the fabulous wild horse floats where we've set up today, and it's a very good afternoon to Steve Murphy. Steve, welcome up to the commentary position, and good to see you coming down to continue to watch the Ashley Forest Rally Sprint. But you're a bit of a master at this game yourself, because you won the event several times, 2004, 2008 and 2009, in that fabulous Mitsubishi Staria, the Cordia V8.
Yep.
Which is now housed, we understand, down at Highland Park.
Yeah, Tony Quinn bought the car and it's down in the museum down in Cromwell. So pity, because it would have been good to see it up here performing. I can't win them all.
Of course, this car, the idea of this car came from the Starian V8 that Don Hickman built. Is it similar type of technology, similar type of car?
Yeah, that's front engine car, but my one was a rear engine car. Mine had a same motor, but aluminium block, turned around back to front, 180, so the transmission was in the correct position, so you could grab the gear lever, and then homemade transfer case. Kerry Jones had a play with that, and then limited slip diffs and big wings. Yeah, so it was good.
When you're thinking about building and developing these specials that we see that come out to events like this, that are absolute crowd favourites, what do you sit down with a clean sheet of paper and say, how are we going to make this thing the fastest possible car we can?
Yeah, it was quite funny actually. The amount of time I've sat on this little soapbox and just sat there and designed this thing in my head and just designed it as I went along, changed it 10,000 times. And yeah, so it's been changed, like the wings. Every year we change different wings and diffusers and the rake and you name it. So yeah, I like experimenting here.
Steve, seeing those times that you set in those 3 years that you won it, with all late 50s you got down to, how do you, looking at the times now that these rocket ships are doing in the 54s, 55s, could you have sat down in your workshop and sat and thought, can I make this thing get down to those
better
times?
Yeah. Well, I over-designed it for a start. I counted 52 pipes in the roll cage, just gussets and everything else. You know how you do, just to make it strong, because the motor was in the middle. I didn't want the thing going. You know. So anyway, we put the radiator on the front and the fuel tank in the front, the battery in the front, so it was 50-50 weight distribution, and yeah, so it was handling really good. But we found out that it was 1500 kg, which was really too heavy, and so old Kenty, one of my sponsors, he says, let's get drilling holes. So we don't know how many holes we drilled and everything, and we got down to 14. So
Steve, talking about the handling of the car, and you know these cars here now they're all purpose built for what we're doing.
Yeah.
Did you find the car easy to handle, or was it a bit of a struggle?
No, it was real easy to drive.
You didn't
but
need
the major thing,
big hairy armpits.
No. We put a reduction box in the steering, like a little chain drive setup, the Speedway boys use, and after that, you know, with a decent power steer, it was one hand. You could drive it with one hand. Yeah, really good.
Of course, the last time that the Cordia V8 appeared at Ashley Forest was with Matt Summerfield behind the wheel.
Yeah, that little bugger beat me. I knew he would, but
only just, I think, though.
Oh yeah, might be a second in it. But yeah, he's pretty good, old Matt.
Yeah, so that and Matt in his commentary sheet for us said that still his favourite memory of Ashley Forest is actually driving that car. He absolutely loved it, and of course he won in that car in 2014. Conditions then weren't quite the same as what they are now, so it was a 1:09 that he did at that time.
Yeah, well, it was wet that weekend, so we didn't get good times. So yeah, but Hayden Paddon was a different story.
Yeah, he's won the car too, isn't he?
Yeah, same type of driver though, but yeah, they're both brilliant drivers.
Okay, it looks like
and the car obviously went to the museum. Was that a hard thing to say goodbye and pass on?
Yeah,
something that's been built from home, and
yeah, it was good. But it's quite funny. We had a 40-foot container. Tony Quinn says, load everything in there. It worked out ideal because we were just shifting at that time, and we just loaded everything. I don't know what he did with all the crap that we sent down here. But sorry, Tony.
So it's an ideal place for it to be. It deserves its place in a museum like that.
Yeah, but it would have been good to see it out. But what my ambition is get Shane Van Gisbergen to drive it next year, and Cheese double drive. That would be good.
Do you think Cheese would be on for it?
That's if Tony was. Come on, Tony.
Keep talking.
And we'll run it, and yeah, as long as someone pays the bills.
Yeah.
Cheese is a bloody Dutchman, so he probably won't. He's probably watching this.
I hope so.
And I'm sure Shane would be itching to get in that car. He'll fit.
Yeah.
Look, you're a little fella. Will he fit? You'll have to move the seat back a bit.
So we might have to put a bubble in the roof.
Steve, look, it's great to have you here, an absolute iconic competitor here at the Ashley Forest Rally Sprint. And thanks for coming in, spending a bit of time with us, and sharing some stories with our live stream listeners. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yep, excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So here we are. We're now down into the top 16 runoffs, and we've just seen the little Suzuki Ignis head up the hill, and we're just waiting to see what time he can pull out of this car to see if he can get into the... Here he is.
This is it for him. This is his final.
So up to the... Actually, I think
these are ones, are they?
these are corporate rides indeed. So that's why we're getting no timing through.
No.
So corporate rides. So we'll just take a break in the commentary while we wait for the first of the top 16 runners to join us.